Good morning, my people. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. All right, we got YouTube good. All right, X good. Let's get Instagram in the mix here. All right, Instagram's there. What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for being here. Good morning. Friday, January 31st. We're about to wrap up another month. First month of 2025 gone. Just like that. It's done. Just like that. What the hell happened to this month? How quick did this month just go by? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. We got a great show lined up. Oh, we got a good show lined up this morning. Got my tea right here, doing its thing. Just let this thing, let it do its thing. Even got some coffee here too. I'm all kind of wired. I got to be honest with everybody. Probably got 9 hours of sleep last night. That's not a joke. And I'm up at, I was up before 6 o'clock. So just imagine what time I actually went to bed. I had 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of sleep. All right, we got a lot to get into. I want to first start off, like I mentioned, like I always do, quote of the morning. Yeah, this is a little bit more of a morning quote here. I was looking up. I'm like, give me some morning quotes. Let me get a little bit more specific with what kind of quotes that I'm looking for. So here's a quote. Lose an hour in the morning and you will spend all day looking for it. Lose an hour in the morning and you will spend all day looking for it. A little confused by it, but I was like, okay, that kind of sounds interesting. Okay, here's another one. Every morning is a blank canvas. You can make it whatever you want. Every morning is a blank canvas. You can make it whatever you want. Hopefully those morning quotes, hopefully some of those are something that you guys can grab and take with you for the rest of the day. Let me give everyone a quick preview of the show, what we got going on today, and then we'll get the show started. So it's going to be a busy weekend in the NBA, busy weekend for the Lakers. And I certainly have a lot of stuff that I want to hit on. And we already know this because we've been talking about it every single day. Trade deadline is coming up, and that's in less than a week. All right, let me give everyone a quick preview. Here's what we got going on today. Won't spend too much time. We'll talk a little bit about that win, Lakers versus the Wizards, just kind of a couple small things that stood out to me. If you guys want a full breakdown of last night's post-game show, you can go back on the channel and certainly did what I do. I think I did 45 minutes. Listen, if I could crank out 45 minutes of a Lakers-Wizards postgame on YouTube, I deserve a Medal of Honor. I deserve something. 45 minutes for Lakers-Wizards. I looked up at the clock yesterday. I'm like, I'm already 40 in? I haven't even started the Lakers-Knicks preview. So a little bit on that Lakers-Wizards game, and then just kind of looking at the rest of the road trip. I'm going to play out a scenario. If Anthony Davis doesn't come back till after the All-Star break, the world won't end. But I kind of have a little bit of a vision what I'm hoping for. And I got a feeling he'll come back before the All-Star break, but we'll see what happens there. Saw a couple things that I thought were interesting. One of the things I saw this morning was I saw an article out there about De'Aaron Fox and why he wouldn't be in the mix for the Lakers. And part of it was looking at the Lakers looking at Austin Reaves as an untouchable. Okay, we'll get into that. Do we think Austin Reaves is a untouchable player for the Lakers? So we'll make a little bit of that case. I kind of have I think I already have an idea of a feeling how most people will feel about that, but that's all right. Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent. What's their value? What's their trade value as we got 6 days left before the NBA trade deadline? Our boy Jovan Buha put out a video and was talking about just their videos or their value specifically in the NBA. So we'll spend a little bit time on that. Thoughts on Bronny James? I want to get people's opinion. Yesterday during the Wizards game, we've seen this a lot where people are chanting Bronny's name. They want to see him play. Well, something kind of unique happened yesterday. Bronny got an and one. I don't think it was on the and one. I think it was when he just got 2 free throws. The crowd was chanting MVP. I don't want to break any news to everybody, but right now Bronny is not in contention for MVP. But it kind of makes me think that this dude's in a tough spot because for many reasons. But I want to have kind of a separate conversation about Bronny James and his position. And then I'm going to bring on Clarke, who covers the New York Knicks. So Chris Clarke, CK2K. I'm going to try doing some more collaborations with some other folks who are on YouTube and obviously have a presence on YouTube. And he does, and he's obviously doing a covering the Knicks. I want to get his thoughts on that game coming up tomorrow. I got a lot of curiosity about the Knicks. How legit is that team? So I think it's going to be fun to talk about that. Weekend preview, little bit after 9. Today we'll go a little bit longer. A little bit after 9. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the business side and kind of what my plans are coming up here for the channel. If you guys want to be a part of that, great. If you don't, all good. But I'm going to do that a little bit later in the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. Hope everybody's having a great morning. We get the show started. All right, before I go, I like doing this before we get started. Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Big Slee. Good morning. Hey, Al. Morning, Slee. Look at this. What a good community here. What a good community. Ben, do you ever brew your own coffee? I do. If you mean just by simply making coffee, like that, just literally, I will ground the beans. I will make the coffee, put a little milk in that bad boy and go. This morning I didn't. I know. Lazy ass. I was a lazy ass this morning. Went to Starbucks. Hit the like and subscribe button if you guys don't mind. That'd be fantastic. Thank you there. A little coffee time. Everybody's drinking coffee together. All right, let's go. Let's get the show started. All right, let's start with last night. So Lakers beat the Wizards 134-96. I said it in the post-game show yesterday. I said that I'm going to send a personal message to the owner of the Wizards through LinkedIn. And I'm going to say, Alan Sliwa, looking for general manager position. And I'm going to submit my resume to see if I could be the GM of the Wizards, because I'm telling you, I can be a 6-41 leader as well. They're 6-41. They've lost, I think, 16 games in a row. They started the season out 2-2. And since then, they're 4-39. Is that real? Are they really that bad? Oh my God. I'm telling you guys, my pitch to the owner of the Wizards is I can do it for half off. 50% on the dollars, 50 cents to the dollar. I'll come in and I'll run the Wizards and I'll be 6-41. What a just terrible franchise. Lakers put it to the Wizards last night. And, we've talked a little bit about this because there's no Anthony Davis. There clearly is, there's always kind of question marks around the Lakers. I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm going to get every single night. And especially if Anthony Davis isn't there, I don't know what I'm going to get. But if you play the Washington Wizards, you can get yourself a W. The Washington Wizards it's a guarantee. It's a lock. It's an absolute lock that if you're looking for a W, just play the Wizards and you're going to be fine. So Lakers blow out the Wizards yesterday. A couple things that stood out to me, just a couple things that came to my attention. 7 guys in double figures. That was awesome. Game was over by the half, even without Anthony Davis. You got a chance to, use guys, some of these main guys that have been eating up a lot of minutes for the Lakers. LeBron got to play just 27 minutes. Even guys like Austin Reaves and Max Christie, who are usually, I always see those guys 35, 37, 38 minutes, 39 minutes a night sometimes. Those guys each played 30. So it was good to just kind of get the game out of the way. By the time the third quarter started, you knew the game was already over because they were up by 33. A couple things that stood out to me that I think are worth talking about. Number one, Jonas Valanciunas. Yeah, that dude didn't look good. Jonas Valanciunas was 1 for 8 from the field, 5 points, 3 rebounds against Jackson Hayes. What would happen if they were playing? What would happen if Anthony Davis was actually playing? And why am I bringing up Jonas Valanciunas? Because that guy has been brought up, and obviously a ton of trade rumors around the Lakers. Even a couple of days ago, early in the week, I was talking with Dave McMenamin. What day was it? I think it was Wednesday. Talking with Dave, and we're having the conversation. And there was kind of like a list there that he would prefer. He was saying that, you don't have to give up first rounders probably to go get Jonas and potentially Malcolm Brogdon. Jonas looked awful. I mean, if that was a Hey, let's see what Jonas has got because the Lakers are playing the Wizards. That was terrible. So I now all of a sudden have a lot of hesitations. Now I know what Jonas's job would be on the Lakers. It would be a lot different, but my God, 1 for 8 from the field, 5 points and 3 rebounds. Jackson Hayes outplayed him. Jackson Hayes looked like Hakeem Olajuwon last night compared to Jonas Valanciunas. He had 10 points and 10 rebounds. I'm like, Jackson Hayes belongs in the Hall of Fame. He was 4 for 4 from the field. Jonas looked bad. He looked really, really bad. So that's one thing that I took away. The other thing I took away, too, that I thought was kind of cool, and I'm going to give some Laker fans, especially on this chat, a little bit of credit because I've had people tell me, hey, Shake Milton could do some things for the Lakers. Well, the problem is he hasn't been getting any opportunities. So he got 21 minutes last night, or I'm sorry, he got 21 points last night. He played 28 minutes for the Lakers. It is the responsibility of JJ Redick to see what he's got with Shake Milton. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that Shake Milton's going to be the next, elite point guard in the NBA. I know that's not the case, but when you already have question marks about who can facilitate, who can bring the ball up the floor, who can get the offense running, you already have questions there. Your ball handlers. When you lost D'Angelo Russell, you lost a big part of that portion of what the Lakers don't have right now. And obviously, they knew that was going to happen. Dorian Finney-Smith was supposed to meet another need. And I'm curious to see what Shake Milton brings to the Lakers. So let's do this if I'm JJ Redick. Can we not next time in a game against Philly in the first quarter bring Bronny James in? Why don't we just use Shake Milton? Why don't we see what we got with Shake Milton? So Shake Milton was phenomenal yesterday. And the reason why I say I'll give credit to some Laker fans, because on this channel, there have been people that have told me, I really want to see this guy get opportunities. Why isn't he giving him any playing time, consistent playing time? And I'm not telling you that the guy's got to go in. I think Shake Milton's one of those guys where, all right, let me try something. Let me just see if this works tonight. It might not work every night, but let me see if this works tonight. So I thought Shake Milton did that. So really, I think overall, as we look at the Lake Show last night, a couple things that I take away. Yes, they demolished the Wizards, but ultimately it was a win, and there were some storylines that I liked, Shake being one of those. Rest of the road trip for the Lakers. So if 5 games before the All-Star break, that's it, just 5 games left. You got the Knicks coming up tomorrow, the Clippers coming up on Tuesday. I want to say Thursday, which is the trade deadline. You got the Golden State Warriors. You're hosting them at home. And then the final 2 games, one at home, one on the road against the Utah Jazz. And then we're at the All-Star game. If Anthony Davis is not available for all 5 of those games, I will take 2 and 3, and I'll go to the bank, and I'll cash in everything that I got. 2 and 3, I would take that in a heartbeat. If AD is available and AD is back, I don't expect him, obviously against the Knicks and the Clippers, and probably not against the Golden State Warriors as well. So the question is going to be those last 2 games against the Utah Jazz, if he'll be available. We'll see. Maybe the Lakers play it completely safe and say, you know what, 5 games left. Let's just take our chances. We need Anthony Davis for that final stretch. Let's leave this man alone. But that's what the Lakers got coming up. And, obviously some tough games coming up, but then also some winnable games. And we'll see what the Lakers are able to do in regards to that. All right, let me look at a couple of the comments here, and then we'll keep things rolling here. What we got here? Slee, half cup of Joe, sweet Georgia brown. Damn. Doing both today, guys. I got tea, I got coffee. I'm just whatever it takes right now. All right, I'm going to go a little bit closer to the bottom so I can kind of catch up to the conversation. Let's see what we got here. Stu was saying losing has probably gotten to Kuzma and the rest of the Wiz. What an awful, awful organization. Awful organization. By the way, don't be surprised when they paid Jordan Poole what they paid him, and when they paid Kyle Kuzma, it's like, look at those 2 players. Yes, both of those guys won championships. You got Jordan Poole, who was the probably 4th, 5th best player on that Warriors team. You got Kyle Kuzma on that championship team, was 6th, 7th best player, and they're trying to make them franchise players. What are you guys doing? I can walk in today to the Washington Wizards and look like Pat Riley compared to whoever else is running that team. How can you run a team so bad? They want Cooper Flag. Okay. That might be the best case that I've heard this entire time. But they're also getting blown out by 4. Lakers, yes, last night looked like the 2000 Kobe and Shaq Lakers. They look like the 86 Showtime Lakers, 88 Showtime Lakers. They look like the 96 Bulls compared to that. All right, let's keep things going here. I want to make sure that we get into some of this other stuff that's going on. So let's keep things moving. I saw an article this morning. When I wake up, I'll give you guys my morning routine. I wake up, I run 14 miles, I swim 2 miles in the ocean. I do an Ironman every morning. You guys know that. And as you guys can kind of see through my physique, I like to keep, my shirt on because I don't want to, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I wake up, I do the Ironman. After I'm done with the Ironman, I start looking for Laker articles. And I'm kind of trying to read through here and say, okay, what do we got here? What can we talk about? What's an interesting article? What's not? There's an article that came out that this was on CBS Sports, but they were taking something from Jake Fisher. You guys know Jake Fisher. I've had him on the show before. The Stein line he does some work for. So he's doing a phenomenal job. Kind of an NBA insider. Let me read you guys the actual title here. It says, Austin Reaves reportedly off limits in a De'Aaron Fox trade, and that's probably the right call. So this is somebody who wrote the article on CBS. They're taking something that Jake Fisher said. The guy who wrote the article, Sam Quinn. Let me kind of throw this out to Laker fans here real quick. Do you think Austin Reaves should be an untouchable player for the Los Angeles Lakers? Okay. I've had interesting conversations with Laker fans on this channel, specifically about Austin Reaves. Trade deadline is a week away. We've known for the last basically maybe week and a half that probably the last week that the Sacramento Kings have basically said, hey, look, we're open for business on the De'Aaron Fox front. This guy doesn't want to sign a long-term deal here. We would probably try to get as many assets as we can now, then worry about it later. Austin Reaves has been really, really good for the Lakers this year. I know people are going to have some frustrations about him. We've talked about what the blueprint should be for Austin Reaves. I would love Austin Reaves to take maybe 10 to 13 shots a game. I'd love for him to be more of a facilitator and see if he can get others involved. I'd love for him to take less threes. I'd love for him to be more under control. I'd love for him to not be a primary ball handler, to be honest with you, even though the Lakers have kind of said, all right, you'll be the primary ball handler in most of these games with D'Lo not there. But my favorite stat lines when I look at Austin Reaves, I love seeing the 16 to 18 points, 12 shot attempts, 4 or 5 3-point attempts, something along those lines. Got to the free throw line a little bit, and then a nice balance, maybe 5 assists and 5 rebounds, or 6 assists and 4 rebounds, something like that. That's my favorite version of Austin Reaves, and that doesn't mean that that's going to be there every single night, but that's what I would prefer. One of the reasons why Austin Reaves is such a valued player is to make a lot of money. Austin Reaves is making $13 million this season. And his, I think by next year, he's making $14 million. So incredible value for what he produces on a night in, night out basis. Came up through the Lakers. And then here he is. Also, as far as the value of what he gets paid, incredible value. The first thing that went through my mind when I read this article, I read just the cover. Lakers Austin Reaves reportedly off limits in a De'Aaron Fox trade. And that's probably the right call. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm a fan of Austin Reaves. Love his play. Does he have holes in his games? No doubt about it. If you can get De'Aaron Fox, Austin Reaves is not going to be in the way of getting De'Aaron Fox. Like, can we? I get it. You know what? Contract pretty good. Yes, he can offer this. There's a lot of value here. Let's go back here for a quick second. If De'Aaron Fox, if there's an opportunity to get De'Aaron Fox, and I'll read a piece of this article that tells a little bit more to it as far as the Jake Fisher piece of it. If you got a chance to get De'Aaron Fox, Austin Reaves is not in the way of getting De'Aaron Fox. He's not. Your 2 first-rounders are not in the way of getting De'Aaron Fox. I did a trade scenario. This was right when that news, before they fired Mike Brown. I said that, let me look at this from the Clippers perspective, or I'm sorry, Clippers. Let me look at this from the Sacramento Kings perspective. If I'm the Kings and I have to make a deal with the Lakers, because let's just say hypothetically, De'Aaron Fox is saying, I want to go to LA. I would say, okay, here's what I want from you. I want Austin Reaves. I want your 2 first-rounders. I want Max Christie. And then let me see if I got to make the contracts work, what other player that I want that I could potentially take and then, shop later on. Because I think you got to match up to $35 million. By the way, this conversation is not about the Lakers getting De'Aaron Fox. It's about the article. Jake Fisher said, part of the reason that the Lakers are not a preferred destination for Fox on the trade market is that his agency, Clutch Sports, knows that the Lakers have zero intention of including Reaves in a deal. So that's why this article came up, or the conversation came up, is that the Lakers would have no interest in trading Austin Reaves. I said it before, I'll say it again. There's certain players that I think, and I'm not trying to tell you guys De'Aaron Fox is a top 5, top 10, top 15 player in the league, but De'Aaron Fox is also today's NBA. De'Aaron Fox, if you told me it's De'Aaron Fox and Anthony Davis, and then you start, really building some good pieces around them for the future of the Lakers, that's interesting. I'm taking a look at that. In a perfect world, you're keeping a guy like Austin Reaves, of course, but to get your hands on a player like that, and I do still think De'Aaron Fox, there's a reason why he wants to go to San Antonio. He wants to play with Wembanyama. I think those are probably the bigger reasons. I don't think, and I'd be very surprised at this, if that front office is saying, we're not in the De'Aaron Fox business because of Austin Reaves, I'd be very concerned that that's the thought process. Now, if De'Aaron Fox just doesn't want to sign with the Lakers long-term and you're taking basically a rental, and then De'Aaron Fox like, listen, you guys can trade for me, but by the time my contract is done, which would be in 1 year, year and a half, it'd be the remainder of this year and next year, then I'm off. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to go sign with the San Antonio Spurs or whatever the case is. But there are only 2 players on this Lakers team that are completely untouchable. One is untouchable because it would be idiotic to trade Anthony Davis unless you have decided that you are in a complete rebuild mode and just have no interest in winning at all. Anthony Davis is, you don't touch Anthony Davis. He's one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He's a phenomenal, phenomenal player, and he's your present and he's your future. The other player that you don't touch is LeBron, and they won't touch him for many reasons. They won't touch him because he's got, they can't trade him because he has a veto on any trade. He's printing you money every single game like he has been. It's basically up to LeBron if he wants to go or he doesn't want to go. After that, don't tell me that there's that Austin Reaves is untradeable or there's zero interest in moving Austin Reaves or anything along those lines. That's my personal opinion. That's just when I saw the article, when I read the article, those were kind of the first couple of things that came to my mind, and that's how I look at it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't value what Austin Reaves brings to the table. That doesn't mean that I don't think Austin Reaves is like I've said plenty of times, a phenomenal basketball player with a crazy, crazy amount of value because of his contract. What I'm saying is De'Aaron Fox is a real guard. He's a real point guard in the league. And I'm not, I'm certainly not in a position where I'm looking at this Lakers team or this Lakers organization. And if there's a trade to be had and he had to be involved in it, if it's the right player, yeah, no question about it. And listen, I don't think De'Aaron Fox was ever, or I don't think he's come to the Lakers. I don't think there was ever really a real conversation. But the portion of Jake Fisher saying that Clutch Sports isn't even kind of considering it because they know that the Lakers have zero intention of including Reaves in a deal. That one kind of was like, yeah, I couldn't disagree more with that. All right, let me look at some of the comments here. Do some of the comments, and then and we'll keep things going here. Let's see what we got. Shake, we're talking about Shake Milton, shows he can handle the ball and gets buckets efficiently. JJ continues to shove Reaves down our throat like he's the next Jerry West. let me give everyone just a quick perception on this with Austin Reaves. I feel like people in the chat and at least in on this specific channel, I feel like they don't give Reaves enough credit. I feel like they make Reaves sound like he's not as effective to the Lakers as he really is. He's the third best player on the team, whether you want him to be or not. He is. He is actually the only role player that is consistent that we kind of can depend on a night in, night out basis. I'm not telling you he's going to be efficient every single night, but it's kind of funny. I almost feel like you guys undervalue Austin Reaves and then the Lakers overvalue Austin Reaves, if that makes sense. Like, we all got to come to a middle ground here. I think the organization is, yep, he's staying here. He's not going anywhere. He's untouchable. And then I think the fans are like, we'll trade him for anything. It's like, I think we all got to come in the middle. The man has value. Let's not pretend like he doesn't have value. All right, let me look at some more comments here. Take a look here. Let's see. He's not the third, though. He is the third best player on this team. Tell me who the third best player on. If you're telling me you can't have him as the third best player on the championship team, I agree with that. But he is the third best player on this team. I don't think there's really an argument there. Okay, let me look at a couple more here. And then we're going to kind of shift gears. I'm going to come back a little bit later in the show. I'm going to do what Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura are in the trade market, just their value in the trade market. I got a piece on Bronny James that I want to get into as well, kind of coming from last night's game. So we're going to still do all that. AR can't play defense. You're not wrong there. Somebody in here. I'll trade Austin Reaves for Zach LaVine. We're all over the place this morning. I would just start over. So you can't go and find an Austin Reaves pretty much anywhere. I don't think they're easy to come by. I mean, can you develop players? Sure, you can. But I think he has been he was a very, very surprising development for the Lakers that probably nobody saw coming. All right, let's keep things rolling here. I want to welcome in our guest for the show today. We got Lakers Knicks coming up tomorrow. He's all nicked out. He's all nicked out. He's ready to go. I want to welcome in Chris Clarke, CK2K. As you guys can tell, covers the Knicks there. Covers the New York Knicks. Chris, thank you, brother. Thank you very much for coming on, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me on. I'm good. I'm ready for tomorrow, man. Tomorrow's going to be fun.
All right. Well, listen, you might be ready. I wish that we were like 2 weeks down the road that we get to play each other, just because obviously because Anthony Davis is not going to be there. But hey, man, okay, let's start with this. First off, it will be a fun game tomorrow. I got so many questions on the Knicks and really the Eastern Conference. So I feel like I'm going to learn a lot more about your squad and learn a lot more about, obviously a little bit more of the Eastern Conference. First off, let's start with this. Can you give, for those a lot of Laker fans that are on this channel, give us kind of a little bit of a scope of what the Knicks season has been like, how things have progressed with Karl Anthony Towns. Just give us an idea of this Knicks team in general.
Yeah. So, Knicks fans, there's two answers to that. So I'm going to give you the outside looking in answer as opposed to the Knicks fan answer, because Knicks fans are very, very critical about our team, even though our team is third in the East, doing really well so far this season. But outside looking in, you look at the numbers specifically, and you see Karl Anthony Towns, as you mentioned. Cat's having a renaissance year. He's having, he's having numbers that he hasn't had in quite some time. Obviously, he had Anthony Edwards to work with last year, which worked out really well for the two of them. But now with the combination of him and Jalen Brunson, it's like each and every month or week, the two of them are just growing. The chemistry is growing and getting to a point where you think they can't outdo the last game that they had, where one will have like Karl Towns will have 25 and 12, while Brunson is slowly getting his assist numbers up. But Brunson having a high assist season as well. The combination between Jalen Brunson and Karl Towns, I feel like we're still learning together, and it's getting scary night in and night out. We're in the midst of a crazy week right now, taking out the Memphis Grizzlies in damn near by 40 points. And then we had the game a few nights
against
ago.
the
Nuggets, yeah, where it just Jokic just couldn't get it going, and Knicks weathered the Jamal Murray storm, which is again something that we have not said we could do in the last few years offensively. Defensively has been our identity for so long, but the offense this year has been great, and predominantly has a lot to do with Karl Towns for sure. So it's safe to say we feel very good about the trade. Safe to say we feel very good about the team as a whole. I think just the big question mark that is slowly getting answered is the bench. What role are they going to play? Who is going to be the real go-to guys off of the bench? But overall, the New York Knicks, we're looking good right now, man. We're looking really good, and yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow's game. I know Lakers side, it's not the greatest because of injuries, but on our side, we're just rolling right now, and I want to keep that going. I want to see that tomorrow.
Well, it feels okay. It feels different too, because
right.
I'll give you my perspective of the Knicks, and it's not a educated one because I'm not watching the Knicks on a night in, night out basis. Yeah. You are. But I've always had this perception of the Knicks. It's like, here's this franchise that we all think is supposed to be good, and they should be good, and they love basketball, and the state of New York just what produces unbelievable basketball. How the hell are the Knicks not good? Mm-hmm. And then these last couple of years, obviously you feel like things are starting to change. I was watching part of the game, the Nuggets and the Knicks on, I think it was Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that starting five. Don't tell me that starting five can't hang with any starting five in the league. At least this is the five that I was on. It was Brunson, it was Hart, it was OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl Towns. Mm-hmm. This feels a lot different for the Knicks, and I'm curious, just expectations-wise, are the Knicks right now? What is, if the Knicks got to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Boston Celtics, yeah. Tell me what the expectation is today for this team.
I mean, expectation is, again, it's two answers if you're talking to Knicks fans, or if you're talking, because Knicks fans think it is championship time. And
well, just so you know, too, Laker fans think that they're going to win 4 in a row.
That's it, right? Yeah.
So, and if it's not 4 in a row, everybody's got to go.
Yeah, that's exactly the temperament for Knicks fans as well. But like, if we're being realistic, I'll play realistic. Yeah, to be honest with you, Eastern Conference would be phenomenal. I mean, it's definitely not out of the cards. It's definitely something I think that this Knicks team can for sure achieve. I think the worries are like the minutes and the resting, and that the same 5 you just mentioned, 4 of those guys have the most minutes in the NBA right now, getting close to historical numbers. So much so I'm looking at stats that that starting 5, or 4 of the 5, not Cat so much, have the most miles ran in the NBA. It's just all kinds of crazy stats with how much they're playing. But if we did make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, honestly, I think the temperature, and we lose to the Celtics, I think a lot of Knicks fans are going to be just as excited. I think it's going to be a great sign, because let's be real, we just made these trades for these guys, Mikal Bridges, Karl Towns, and the fact that it's all coming together the way it has been. Mikal had a slower start, but now is balling right now. And for Karl Towns to come out the gates playing as well as he did. And if we can get to the Eastern Conference Finals with the likes of, the Cavs are hooping right now, going crazy. We got Magic that even when they're losing all kinds of players, they're still winning games, and they're only getting healthier. If we're able to do what we're doing, continue the trajectory all the way through that, Eastern Conference Finals, to me, I feel like that's a huge W. Because like I said, we just came together, and we still don't have Mitchell Robinson. Guys are still just slowly getting healthy. I think a lot of Knicks fans, though they won't say it up front, after a few weeks of stewing, after a few weeks of kicking things, a few weeks of being upset, they'll realize that Eastern Conference Finals that Eastern Conference run was great. Now it's time to get the NBA Finals next year. So I would definitely take an Eastern Conference Finals, because it felt like that last year should have been that year, right? But then we got bounced the second round, and then the year prior to that, same thing. So I would definitely take an Eastern Conference Finals run this year while we're still putting it all together for sure.
How surprised were you? I want to go back to the offseason real quick. So, in the Western Conference, we're sitting here and we're watching what I thought was going to be the Timberwolves being a problem for years to come.
Yeah.
And when the trade went down, I'm like, does somebody want to help me understand how the Minnesota Timberwolves decided, let's trade our franchise player, who, by the way, is a perfect complement to Anthony Edwards. And you took he's been in the league long enough to where he can take some attention away from Anthony Edwards. Everybody was trying to make it like, hey, Anthony Edwards is about to take over the league. Well, I don't care what star you are. You need another star next to you if you really want to make noise. Yeah. And they drafted him. They developed him. How surprised were you that Karl Anthony Towns not only gets traded, this dude got traded to the Knicks? Did that just come out of nowhere for most Knicks fans?
For most, I would say so. CP, CP from Knicks Fan TV, he'll tell you that he's been seeing it in the crystal ball that it was coming. The time was coming, just wasn't sure when it was going to be. But that day was probably one of the craziest Knicks days in a long time. I think the last time we had a crazy Knicks day like that was when the Porzingis trade, just because everyone just couldn't believe that it actually happened and the time that it happened. And for both sides, like for the fact that the Knicks did it right before training camp. And like you just mentioned, the Timberwolves were games away from the finals. And
unbelievable.
It's just the timing of everything it was absolutely insane. And I don't care what anybody says. I would definitely say the surprise. There was some people that were trying to talk themselves out of thinking this trade was a bad one. People were just a little shell shocked on it. Cat's not going to do this. Cat's not going to do that. But I feel like it was just the overall shock from everybody when it came to that trade. But like I said, the timing on both sides was just crazy, because when's the last time you've seen that big of a trade happen that close to training camp? You know what I mean? And then, like I said,
and like you said, a team that had just accomplished what they did.
Exactly.
And it's not like Karl Anthony Towns was at the end of his career. Like that. I still scratch my head. I still don't understand how that.
I get it contractually, because that's what they'll say. That's what the NBA heads are going to tell you, because financially it was going to get tight for the Timberwolves down the line, and I understand that. But you can't tell me, and I get it also if they were trying to do the due diligence to Cat, because they loved him. He was really good for the franchise, really good for the city, and so on and so forth. But you can't tell me, and I'm taking my Knicks hat off. You can't tell me that you couldn't shop a little bit more and get something that makes a little bit more sense for your team right now to fit the financials for Anthony Edwards. So being a Knicks fan and being on the side that we're on with it is a blessing, something that, we prayed for years. And now it just seems like the last few years we're finally getting things together. My hat's off to Leon Rose and how he's been doing a tremendous job with the New York Knicks, man.
Yeah. What's here's the issue is I get the financial part. First off, I'm not every dollar is equal. So whatever Karl Anthony Towns dollars were going to cost, it's not equal to some of the other players that are on that team.
True.
And then here's the other thing, man, especially a franchise like Minnesota, you'll only get so many shots at this. Like, who knows if if you're in a window and that window doesn't just naturally end, and then you start saying, guys, we had our opportunity, but that's it. It's over. That window had just cracked open, and they're like, shut it. It's like, wait a minute. It was almost like an unnatural move. You know what I'm saying? So and like I said, if it's a franchise that's been, if it was the Lakers doing something, even though I that's a bad example, but at least Lakers can say, all right, well, we have X amount of championships. This stars like coming here, whatever the case is. But that's certainly not the case. I want to get your perspective here. So Lakers got the Knicks coming up tomorrow. I know you're focused on your squad and your team and everything else. Sure. What's your perception of what you know so far? What's the perception on the East Coast of the Lakers right now?
That the Lakers.
That's not a good start. Yeah, that's not a good start.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where my question mark is just always going to be Rob Pelinka. I don't understand the decision making on building around Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I didn't understand why the team blew up so quickly after y'all championship, and I feel like that's been such a weird situation since the bubble championship. Yeah, the perception is it's just like the Lakers definitely, LeBron James is doing great things historically right now. Anthony Davis is a monster. Then what? I like Austin Reaves. I'm an Austin Reaves fan. I don't know if his role is enough to say that the Lakers have a chance to really. I mean, you're doing a good job. Well, you were last week or a week or two in the Western Conference, and now with the injuries and taking a little slide right now. Yeah, I would just say the overall look right now is just like the Lakers. It's just until something goes on with the depth of the Los Angeles Lakers, there's no belief that there's a real contention for them going forward as far as like Knicks fans looking at it. And look, some Knicks fans are also going to look at the team and like be like, LeBron James, I can't stand him. I love LeBron, love what he's doing. I think he's doing great stuff. But look, like we just said about the Minnesota Timberwolves, at his stage in his career right now, man, y'all got to help him out. I get it, he's playing phenomenally, but there's just got to be something here, and I get he's trying. The Finney Smith move was cool, but I don't know.
They need another move. I will tell you,
sure.
I was, and I love that the first thing you did is you went to Pelinka. Like that was kind of your angle on
That's
this.
How I feel.
Of not understanding kind of, okay, well, what happened after that championship run? It was about a week ago that AD tells Shams of ESPN, I'm trying to play with another big. It's like, okay, well, if he's going publicly to tell, he's had the private conversations and now is like, all right, well, that didn't work. So let me go public. I think this next week for the Lakers will be everything, because even if they could be, let's just say everyone's healthy and you got AD and you got LeBron, Jared Vanderbilt's kind of a key piece for the Lakers. We'll see, just kind of one of those, I roll up my sleeves and I go to work. Reaves, you mentioned. Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm a fan of, even though he really hasn't done that much since they traded for him.
Not yet.
But the biggest question is going to be, what do they do with those first rounders, and are they able to add something? And if they're not, I agree. It's going to be tough to look at them and take them seriously. And we'll obviously kind of see how it pans out from there. But when you look at the rest of the Western Conference, give me your vibe on the West. What are the teams that you really believe in? And what are the teams that you're like, okay, I see the record, but I don't know about. I was watching Houston, Memphis last night.
Yeah.
And, Şengün didn't play for Houston. Ja Morant didn't play for the Grizzlies. But that's your 2-3 in the West right now. And seems like pretty legit teams, right? They play defense. Sure. They got stars, or at least star capable power. What's your overall take on the Western Conference of what you've seen so far?
I think there's a reason why even at 2 and 3, there's still you're still hearing trade rumors around Houston and Memphis. I think as well as they played this year, and it's not knock on them, they're playing phenomenal. You mentioned Şengün, I'm a big fan of him. He's having a great career, and he's a big part of Houston going from no one knows what they're doing to now they're great. But the problem with those two teams, unlike the OKC Thunder, that it's clearly a championship contender, is they're young and they're playing very well. But what happens in the playoffs in that kind of an atmosphere? Can the Amen Thompsons and Jalen Greens and stuff like that step up in those big moments in round 2, game 6, and round 1, game 7, like that kind of stuff? That's where I'm looking at. Playing the Grizzlies, I was looking at it, and I'm like, man, they must be missing somebody. And it was just Marcus Smart that was out in that game when we're playing against them. And obviously, we're not going to play the Grizzlies every single time and beat them by 40, but it just seemed like something was off with that team. So to me, if you're asking me which teams I'm looking at, I actually like consider a contender. Honestly, Denver. I did not like the moves they made in the offseason. I feel like they lost some key guys in KCP not coming back
2 years in a row.
That's what I'm saying. So it's the Denver Nuggets, as great as Jokic is. I mean, the way he started the season, he had to average like 40, and they were still struggling to win some games earlier on in the year. For me right now, obviously the Western Conference, as strong as it is, when it comes to the playoffs, these coaches get them to play. But I'm looking at the West, and I really want to see what happens after the trade deadline with some of those key teams that we're talking about. Memphis, do they get that extra piece to just put them in like, okay, Memphis is it? Can Houston get that other veteran that's going to make sense for them? Because I feel like they're missing just like one little inty-bitty something. But, Denver's still Denver. I'm rooting for y'all. I know like a lot of Knicks fans, they're going to hear me say that. I say it all the time. Just for the mere fact, like, the same way we say that when the Knicks are good, the NBA is good, I feel the same way about the Lakers, especially with LeBron in his last few years. I feel like we're taking it for granted. So I would love to at least see you guys compete. But again, until Rob Pelinka does something to, put that team together, I don't know.
That's fair.
But yeah, if I'm looking at real contenders, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a team that I'm looking at. Like, there's not many teams that really have figured out the weakness to OKC. Other than that, I feel like in 7-game series, I feel like that they're all vulnerable because they're all really young, and I want to see what that's going to look like in a playoff setting for Memphis that just got healthy and Houston that's just figuring it out right now. So that's how I feel.
No, it's a good breakdown right there. I got maybe two. I'm gonna ask one more question and then a follow up to that,
Sure.
and then we'll let you go. And I appreciate your time. The Lakers Knicks tomorrow. So we kind of, from a vibe perspective, one of my favorite games that I've ever been to on the road is Lakers Knicks, Madison Square Garden. It really is one of the cooler sporting events that you can actually go to. And for Laker fans that are here, that, if you got a bucket list of some things to do in sports, make that one of your bucket list things. What is typically, can you give what the vibe you think is going to be tomorrow night? LeBron in the house. How many more times will LeBron get a chance to play at Madison Square Garden? What do you think the vibe's going to be tomorrow?
I do a play-by-play on Knicks Fan TV, and my final words after the Denver Nuggets game was, I'm expecting a big LeBron James night. I think that that's something we can weather, but you hit the nail on the head. We don't know how many of these we're going to have. LeBron James is definitely a sentimental character. He those moments he takes advantage of. He makes them very known, makes them very loud. I guarantee Saturday night, win or lose, I expect a screenshot of LeBron James backtrotting over the Knicks logo because that's what LeBron does. The energy is going to be there, man. Every time the Lakers and Knicks play, it's like that, just like that unspoken rivalry. Even there is no rivalry, it just seems like there's always that extra gas when the Knicks and Lakers play. No matter how good or bad the two teams have been, there's always some storyline. Like when we were trying to figure things out through injuries. Remember the Jeremy Lin, Kobe Bryant era, Carmelo Anthony, Kobe Christmas game. Like there's just always that energy. We could even talk about a few years ago when RJ Barrett back in LA versus LeBron James. It's just, there's always extra juice whenever these two teams play. So that's why I look forward to them. We only get it 2 times a year. But like you mentioned with injuries, this is important for LeBron. They're going to gas it up that there's not many. We're not sure how many more times we're going to see this. So I'm fully expecting there to the fireworks to be there. But and I appreciate the invite. But I'm just going to say, but I'm looking for my New York Knicks to continue this avalanche on the Western Conference that we are on right now, and I'm hoping that we get another big dub against the Lakers in the Garden. We need it because to that point, I need my Knicks to take advantage of the Garden. That's one of our weakest points. We do not take care of home court, so I need a statement to be made on Saturday.
Lakers, I mean, obviously, without it, listen, even if Anthony Davis was playing, it was going to be a big-time challenge. I mean, I think everybody was surprised a week ago when Lakers beat the Knicks or beat the Celtics. That was at home.
Yeah.
But these next 2 games for the Lakers, if AD's not there, which he's not expected to be, Knicks and Clippers, yeah, it's going to be a problem for the Lake Show. It's funny you mentioned Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
The game I went to, one time I went, I think I've been to the Garden twice, but the Lakers-Knicks game that I went to, that was the game where Jeremy Lin went off on the Lakers. When he was a part of the Knicks, he went off on the Lakers and dropped his, I think it was like 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of starting his Linsanity. It was just starting. I remember getting to a taxi and the taxi driver is like, we got this guy, Jeremy Lin. He's the next John Starks or whatever he was saying. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then he drops 30 plus on the Lakers. But well, listen, man, it'll be fun. I appreciate you taking the time. For those that are just big NBA fans and just want a great NBA breakdown, of course, of the Knicks, I will link your YouTube page on the channel as well. But I really appreciate you giving kind of the insight of this game coming up tomorrow and the matchup against the Knicks.
Yes. Best of luck. Appreciate the invite, man. This was great. I had a lot of fun. Shout out to all the Laker fans and all the Allen fans in the chat. Appreciate you guys for listening to me. But sorry to say this, I'm gonna go out with Let's Go Knicks.
I don't blame you. You're supposed to. It's, that's your squad there. So I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you.
That is Chris Clarke right there. CK2K covers the Knicks and doing a great job there on YouTube. So I appreciate his time coming in here and breaking it down for us. All right. There you go. What are you going to say? They're a good team right now. Whether you like it or you don't, Knicks are a good squad. I'm not kidding. I was mentioning this. I was watching, I think I mentioned it yesterday too. I was watching the Lakers, or I was watching the Knicks in Denver a couple days ago. I'm just looking at that starting lineup. I'm like, that's a problem. Jalen Brunson, who can go off at 30 any given night and is starting to facilitate more. Josh Hart, who knows his role. You need guys like Josh Hart. He knows his role. Winning player. All right. OG Anunoby, great. Mikal Bridges, perfect. All these guys role players. And then Cat. That's a really, really good squad. So phenomenal stuff right there. Thank you for coming on, brother. We appreciate you. There he is. Okay. I'm gonna keep going here. There are a couple things that I want to get into, and we'll kind of keep the show rolling. There was one thing that I have not got into yet, Laker wise, that I want to chat about. So I'm gonna get ready to get into that, and it's specifically about the value of Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent. So if you're on the chat right now, thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for hanging out. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep the show rolling. If you got some comments in here, it's going to be tough for me to go back and see some of those comments. So I would just kind of start over if you guys don't mind, and I'll catch some of those here in just a little bit. Good friend of the show, Jovan Buha, was doing his show, and he was talking about, all the trade rumors right now around the Lakers and, what do they have to trade if they do go out there and make some type of a trade. And you're talking about the value of some of these Laker players, the current value of some of these Laker players, and specifically the two names that I think would be in any deal that the Lakers made. If they go make a trade today, tonight, tomorrow, anything before February 6th, there's a good chance Gabe Vincent or Rui Hachimura or both of those players would be involved. So with that in mind, let me read a quote here coming from Jovan about how the NBA feels. And I don't think it's a shock, but I think it's the right way to put it. How some of these NBA players, or how the NBA front offices feel about those two players specifically. He said that the NBA considers Vincent as a negative value and Rui Hachimura at best considered neutral value, but no one considers them positive assets. Okay. So I'll read again. Gabe Vincent, negative value. Rui Hachimura, neutral value, but no one considers him as a positive asset. So obviously both of those players not considered positive assets. It's not shocking to me. It's not like this crazy surprise where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's how the league feels about those two players. I think it makes a lot of sense, which is why the value that the Lakers have and the value that teams see in the Los Angeles Lakers is one thing. Nobody's going to trade for Rui Hachimura because they believe he's going to be an important piece for them. I don't believe so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if he got traded, he went somewhere else and something changed. Nobody's going to trade for Gabe Vincent and say, got to have that guy. He's the missing piece. Now, Gabe Vincent did have a really, really good run when he was in Miami. He got to the NBA Finals, but he's shown none of that with the Lakers. Maybe here and there, a little bit of a spark or a little bit of like, oh, that's interesting, but nothing consistent. What are the teams and front offices around the NBA interested in? They're not interested in Rui. They're not interested in Gabe Vincent. They want your picks. They want 2029 or 2031 or 2029 and 2031. That's what they want. That's the thing that is valued in any deal that the Lakers make. We've spent time over this last couple of weeks and, talking about, all right, well, should they give up the picks? Should they not give up the picks? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? What kind of player is worth 2 first-rounders? We were reading these last couple of days that Miles Turner, probably going to cost you 2 first-rounders. Walker Kessler, probably going to cost you 2 first-rounders. So it's not even like you're talking about, big-time players. You're talking about role players that can come on the team. And I'm with you. Role players are important. They're key. But that's kind of the price of doing business in today's NBA. And it also tells you what the value of Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura are in the market. There is no value. Nobody's trading for those guys, for those actual players. Nobody was trading. The Brooklyn Nets weren't trading for D'Angelo Russell to go make a run. They were trading for D'Angelo Russell because that was an expiring contract, and they were going to get some second-round picks that they thought, all right, it's worth it. Let's do it. They weren't trading for D'Lo. If there's D'Lo fans out there that are devastated and heartbroken that I said that, it's the reality. They weren't trading for D'Angelo Russell. They were trading for other reasons. That doesn't mean D'Lo can't be of value to them between now and the end of the season, but there were other reasons why they were trading for him. So that 2029, 2031, I think teams also realize the position that the Lakers are in right now. It's 2025 right now. 4 years from now, 4.5 years, you can call it. Where are the Lakers going to be? We know where we think LeBron won't be playing anymore. I mean, who knows? Maybe this guy's still going. We're assuming he's not going to be playing anymore. And we got kind of no real idea if Anthony Davis is AD here by 2029. I don't know. That's a long time from now. So I think there's a lot of people that look at the 2029 and the 2031 pick and say, there are so many question marks around the Lakers between the next 4 to 6 years. There's tremendous amount of value in those picks. Who knows where those picks can be? Maybe those picks are top 5, top 7, top 10. There's a lot of value in those picks if that's the case. I actually think if I was a GM out there or someone in the front office of another team, I'm taking every Laker call because I do think there's a lot of value in those picks. And I also think the Lakers are. I did a video on this yesterday. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of heat on Rob Pelinka to go make something happen. A lot of pressure. We're just chatting with our guy there from the Knicks, Chris. And, one of the first things that he had mentioned, I'm like, what's your perception of the Lakers? He's like, look, Pelinka's got to do something, right? Because what they have right now, no one's really going to take them seriously. So there's a lot of pressure on Rob Pelinka. And that pressure, if I'm another team out there, I try to take advantage of the Lakers. And that doesn't mean the Lakers can't, have value coming back, but their value is going to be more short-term. And the value that comes with those picks are going to be more long-term. So Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent, either negative value or neutral value at best for both of those players. Any value that comes from a Lakers trade, we know what that's going to be. That's clearly going to be 100% strictly just about the picks and nothing else. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Let's see what we got here. Hanging on to a pick 6 freaking years from now while we continue to be mid and will be for a 6+ years, F them picks. So let me tell you something. I'm not making a justification to hold on to the picks. What I'm just telling you is, and by the way, they don't have a choice here. If you have to pick one or the other, what you can't pick is we're going to be in the middle. And I think that's what you're saying here. I think what you're saying is Lakers are basically in the middle. Being in the middle is the worst place you can be. Being in the middle in any sport means you're not bad enough to go get real picks and rebuild your franchise. And you're also not good enough to compete for a championship. So the Lakers right now, if right now they're sitting kind of in that middle, maybe a little bit better than middle, well, then they have no choice but to go make another trade. Let's get a couple more of these in. Let's see what we got here. With Genie Bus, Lakers don't know how to rebuild. Yeah, a lot of people here not crazy about a rebuild under the regime. I mean, obviously you look at what happened to the Lakers when Kobe retired. They were out there drafting, but never really fully got a chance to play that out and develop. There was pressure. There was also a lot of bad free agent signings. If you guys remember, Timofey Mozgov, Luol Deng. There are really bad contracts out there as well. And then it, came down to LeBron basically saying, you know what, I'm going to go play for the Lakers. And then things obviously started changing from there. F them picks. Listen, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I would be shocked, genuinely shocked, if on Thursday night Lakers are getting ready to play the Warriors and it's the exact same team. I would be shocked if that's the case. I really, really would be. Let me get a couple more in here, and then we'll keep things going here. D all fits in Brooklyn. They shouldn't have moved on from them. I think you're talking about D'Angelo. I think. Maybe D'Angelo stays in Brooklyn. Maybe in the offseason he signs, another deal with them. Here's somebody saying I would not be. I really actually I really would be shocked that at this stage, Anthony Davis coming out publicly and saying, I need to play with another big. AD is the big one. AD is the big one. That's what changed everything for me. I would have thought they're going to do it anyways, but once Anthony Davis basically said publicly that we got to go get another big, that changed everything for me. So that to me is, I think, incredibly, incredibly important to know that. Do you really want? Because I remember when Anthony Davis during a playoff game last year after Game 2 against the Denver Nuggets said, we don't know what we're doing on both sides of the floor. And then in the offseason, the Lakers fired their head coach. I've said this, there's certain players. If AD speaks, I'm listening. And if I'm that front office, I'm listening to when AD is talking. So I would be shocked if the Lakers didn't make a move. All right, let me ask somebody. Let me ask everybody a quick question here. We got more to get into, so we're just gonna have to keep going. Get ready for some overtime. Grab a drink real quick. We're just gonna have to keep going, guys. There's nothing we can do. I talked to the executives, and the executives up top said, "You know what, Sleet? Why don't you keep going?" You guys don't realize this. There is 11 executives in front of me right now saying, Al, go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Last night, I'm watching the Lakers game. I got a Bronny James question for everybody. Watching the Lakers game. And, I did a video yesterday. We were doing the show yesterday. And I had mentioned that there was no justification that, Bronny James was getting real minutes against Philadelphia. He came in the first quarter and came in the first quarter and ended up playing 4 minutes, and I think got 15 minutes total, whatever the case is. All right. I wasn't crazy about that. I wanted to see, why is he playing real minutes? Can I just ask everybody what everybody is thinking of kind of this situation with Bronny, where fans are now, whether it's at home or it's on the road, they're chanting his name. Yesterday, they were chanting MVP when he was at the free throw line. Obviously, a little bit something there of the mocking Bronny James. I think this man is in a really tough position. I really do. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And the one thing I do like about Bronny, he doesn't really have a facial expression when the game is going on. It sounds like he doesn't really care what anybody else thinks. At least it sounds like it. It was Stephen A. that had a video yesterday coming out and basically putting out his stats, and it made me look at his stats. I've never looked at Bronny. Why would I waste my time looking at Bronny's stats? There's no reason for me to look at it. And then there I was. I'm like, you know what? Let me look this up for myself. Tomorrow, Lakers got the Knicks, Madison Square Garden. This could very well happen in this game, okay? I know Laker fans don't want to hear this, but it's the reality. Lakers could be down 15 points in the fourth quarter because they don't have Anthony Davis, and the New York Knicks are a really, really good team. You know what the crowd's going to start doing? They're going to start chanting, Bronny, Bronny. And every time Bronny gets the ball, they're going to get excited, and they're going to want him to shoot and this and that. I feel bad for him. If I could be completely, completely honest, I feel bad for him. That the predicament and the situation that he's in, it's less about watching him develop and play basketball the right way, and see if he can put himself in a position where he can end up on an NBA roster and actually give them real minutes. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe, we're going to sit here and in 2 years he is developing and he actually found some ways now that LeBron's not in the league anymore. He's found ways to contribute and help out with everything, or help out on a team and a roster. But I feel bad. I think it's a very weird position for him to probably be in. Tough position for him to be in. I'm gonna read some of these comments. Let me take a look here at some of these comments, and we'll see if people agree or if they think no, this is good for him. It's good promotion, whatever it is. Chanting for Bronny by other teams is not meant to be endearing. I agree with that. I don't know if everybody else agrees with that. But yeah, it sucks for Bronny. That's the point that I'm trying to make more than anything else. I'm just looking at this young kid. Listen, Bronny is, hopefully health, all good, because he had his health scare, but his actual life and his situation, obviously living a tremendous life, and the success that LeBron has brought into his family's life and everything else. So I get that. I'm not looking at it from that perspective, like this man is living check to check. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being on the stage in front of everybody, wearing a Lakers jersey. Your dad is LeBron James, and everywhere you go, they're chanting your name, but it's more, it's kind of a weird thing. Are they mocking him? The MVP chance is mocking. But when they're chanting his name for him to come in the game, is it just kind of like is it, I know it's not being disrespectful in LA. Is it being disrespectful when he's on the road? I'm just not, I feel bad for his situation. All right, let's see what we got here. I feel bad for him too. It's a sad situation his dad put him in. He did. Stephen A is a hater and has no business telling anyone how to be a father. I don't mean it from that perspective. Look, you're looking at it from a perspective of LeBron James. I'm looking at it from a perspective of Bronny. That's the perspective I'm looking at. I know what LeBron wants. I know LeBron wanted his son on the Lakers. I know LeBron wanted the Lakers to use their number 55 pick in the second round on Bronny James, even though he shouldn't have been a second rounder. I know LeBron wants Bronny James traveling with him or on the roster or on the team and developing with him. I know that's what LeBron wants. But I'm not talking about LeBron. I'm talking about Bronny. My attention is shifting to Bronny. I've had this conversation before. It's like, okay, this is a weird predicament for Bronny. And like I said, like, it's not like the guy is, going around and running his mouth and saying, I'm this and I'm that or any of that. No, I feel like he's quiet. He's calm. He's collected. It's not, I don't feel like he doesn't give off a vibe of, yeah, I belong here. He doesn't do any of that. I'm actually, they had a game over the weekend, South Bay Lakers. He dropped 31 points. I'm like, that's impressive. I like that. Let this man develop. Let's see if he can make, his own name. He's always going to be LeBron's son. I understand that, getting out of that shadow, that's not going to happen. But can he actually be a player potentially in the league 2, 3, 4 years down the road? I don't think this is the blueprint. I don't think this is the blueprint. I think the blueprint would be let this man just quietly develop in the G League. And when there's some opportunities for him, you obviously figure out, I think in a perfect world, he wasn't with the Lakers. In a perfect world for Bronny, he was developing somewhere else, just naturally developing somewhere else. So that's my thoughts there. When I guess maybe part of this had to do with the moment, those MVP chants were happening yesterday. I'm like, don't, let's not do that, please. Please, Wizards fans who have absolutely nothing to cheer for, can you not chant MVP for Bronny James? Let's see what we got here. Bronny is developing just fine. No matter how you slice it, he's developing even with all the noise. Mentally, it looks like to me, none of this bothers him. That's a strong trait. All right. I think we're good here. Patty Mills, by far best 55th pick ever and never a real starter. Oh, there's been a lot of value in second rounders. I mean, we know that. Here's another one. Name another 55th pick. Yeah, that's not the idea. That's not the concept. I think you know what I'm talking about. And what I could tell you is there's plenty of second rounders that developed, but I feel bad for the kid. That's the best way that I can say it. I genuinely feel bad for the dude. So, and from a basketball perspective, that's it. From that perspective. Now we'll see what eventually happens. All right, let's see what else I got here. What the hell else did I promote? I think we got everything here. I got a quick weekend preview, and then I want to talk a little bit about the channel. I got a couple things that I want to bring up here, and then we're going to call it a day, and we're going to call it a weekend. So thank you for hanging out, by the way. Please subscribe to the channel if you're still here hanging out. Really, really appreciate it. So a couple things weekend preview. Obviously, nothing in the NFL. Super Bowl next Sunday. So this will be the first weekend where we don't have an NFL game, a real NFL game since August. So Super Bowl coming up next weekend. I was looking at the NBA schedule, and let me give you guys just a quick idea, at least over the weekend. So tonight, some of the games I saw, Bucks Spurs, okay. Maybe a little Giannis Wembanyama. Hopefully those two guys are playing. Suns Warriors, a little bit of Suns had that surprise win over the Oklahoma City Thunder a couple days ago. Kind of interesting to see in the standings, both of those teams hanging around the Lakers. Tomorrow we got Lakers-Knicks, so we know that's going to be the matchup that everybody's watching. And then right when the game's done, I'm going to do my post-game show so you guys can be hanging out with me. And then Sunday, Grizzlies-Bucks I saw was a good game. Maybe Mavs-Cavs, that could be a good game. Those are really the matchups that I saw. They had the all-stars that were named. Some new names in the mix here. So AD obviously going to be an all-star as part of the reserves. Victor Wembanyama is an all-star. Anthony Edwards, James Harden back on that list. Jaren Jackson Jr., Sengun of the Houston Rockets making his first appearance. Oklahoma City's guard or their forward, Jalen Williams. So all the folks on there were announced as well. Okay, one last thing. I just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of news about the channel. So we're about to close in on 5 months of doing the Sliwa show. Obviously, the channel has been around doing Lakers coverage for a little bit. Starting next week, I am going to start memberships. All right. So I'm just going to give everyone just a quick idea and kind of a pre-plug here. My goal is to start memberships and to kind of cater specifically to whoever wants to invest into this channel and thinks that they're getting value in this channel and want to support it. The more I go and the further I go in the channel, the better idea I'm going to have of what I do exclusively for members. I don't have that part all ironed out, but that's okay. I just want to get started with it. And I think there are a lot of people on here. Hopefully, this is the vibe that I get. And you guys can tell me the vibe that I get is people like the channel. They like where it's going. I feel like there's definitely a growing community. I like the positivity that's on the channel. I like the vibe of the channel. There's a lot of things I really personally like. But a lot of that is because I feel like you guys like it. I feel like you guys like what I'm doing, maybe the style, the guests that I have on. This is as authentic as me as you're going to get on this YouTube platform. So I'm going to have an option out there to be a member. Once that happens, I hope you guys will consider it. And I'll tell you exactly what the price point that I'm going to have it at. I'm going to do one tier. Maybe that changes down the road, but I'm just going to do one tier. It's going to be $3 a month. And $3 a month, I will have content that is exclusive to members, but I'm going to figure that out as I go. It's just going to be a way for you guys to support the channel. This channel basically exists if you guys like what I'm doing. And I think there's, at least I feel it, there's a great energy on this channel that makes me think this is definitely something that can grow over the years and become a real business, not just a hobby, but a business. So I will keep you guys posted on that. It's going to be $3 a month. And you know what I was trying to price it as? I swear this is the exact truth. I'm like, what's around a cup of coffee? That's what I'm going to price it at. So if you guys want to buy me a cup of coffee once a month, I will make sure that you get that value of that $3 a month. So something to keep in mind, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. The other thing that I want to make mention to everybody here, doing this for 5 months, there's a lot of kind of trial and error, trying to figure out what I think works, what doesn't work, what people like, what they don't like. And I got a long way to go. I'm still trying to figure it out. But one of the things that I've waited on was partnerships. And I think I waited for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't want to have a partner on that was, hey, they're on for a week or 2 weeks or something along those lines. I want people that have kind of share the same vision that I have. I want to have long-term partners. I want to have partners that I have some type of tie or connection with. I want to have partners that I feel like are a fit to the channel. All these things. And I'm not telling you I have the perfect answer or anything along those lines. But I will tell you guys is I am in the process of starting to bring partners aboard. And in the month of February, that's going to be happening. It's interesting. If my number one goal is to make sure that any partnerships that I have, I never mess with the flow of what the channel is and where the channel is going and the content. But the reality of it is, it's very important that I also turn this into a business. It's fun. I love doing it. But the only way that I could sustain this and do it long term is if it's a business. I come from a business background. I was in sales at 10 years when I was with ESPN, 5 years down in San Diego, and then cracking the mic and everything else. So I got to merge all my strengths together, and I also got to turn it into a business. That's going to be important. I want the channel to grow. I want it to look better, sound better, feel better, get bigger guests. I want to do all that. Revenue's got to be coming in for me to accomplish some of those goals. So in the month of February, just to give you guys a heads up, it was one of my own personal goals that I had is this is where the channel's going, this is where I'm going, and this is going to be part of the growth of the channel. So I appreciate all the continued support of the channel. I appreciate everybody that's hung out, whether you just started hanging out since I started doing the Sleeva show on here, or you've been on here for years because of my Lakers content. But this is my primary business, and I want to make sure that I'm turning it into a business. And any revenue that I make, I'm going to try to put it back in the channel to make sure that you guys feel like the product is only getting better. So just wanted to share that with everybody. I appreciate you guys being a part of, obviously, the channel, the growth, and everything else. I got a partnership starting on Monday that I'll tell you guys a little bit more about. And then I think some more partnerships to come here in the near future. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of the show. 5 months, wrapping in 5 months here. Before we know it, we'll be at episode 100 and kind of keep things rolling. So thank you for being a part of the channel, the show. I'm back on tomorrow night on Saturday. Lakers after they take on the New York Knicks. Thank you to everybody. Hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow night.